human to human interaction and engagement is going to be key in 2026 because you're going to have a softening of a market. People are going to get very weary of reach outs via text message. They're going to get very weary of a phone call that sounds a little off because they're going to be like, that sounds like AI. And we are not, as a population, yet trained to experience a conversation with AI. So the human to human touch, the human to human interaction is going to be very, very key.
This is the Snowball Effect. You're listening to the Marketing Playbook series, presented by the Snowball Effect podcast. It's growth done right.
Hey, this is Todd, and welcome to the Snowball Effect. This is our Marketing Playbook series, and I'm really excited today to talk to a special guest. I've got Travis Weathers on the podcast. Welcome to the podcast, Travis.
Thank you. I personally am very grateful to be here. I'm glad you invited me, and I'm excited to share as much knowledge and value to the listeners as possible.
I love it, Travis. Travis is the CEO and founder at Rotate Digital. But before we get into that, I've got to ask, what is going on behind you? Because I'm the world's most jealous man. Tell me that's a virtual background and that's not real.
It's very real. Yeah. So I've got this airplane hangar, and I love aviation, and so I actually started my business to pay for aviation school, and I wanted to go
No kidding.
fly overseas and be a commercial pilot, and one thing led to another, and I ended up buying a plane, and so we bought this hangar. I've got a couple people working on the sides right now, and so this is where we work. It's kind of fun.
All right, I want to talk marketing with you, Travis. So that's
Let's
why I've
do
got
it.
that's why I've got you here. I follow you on social, and we share a lot of customers. We work with a lot of moving companies, and when I go into the moving space, I see you everywhere. I want to ask you a little bit about that, but before I do, I thought I heard that you've got a book coming out. Is that right?
Yeah, the book was by far one of the hardest things I've done in my life, like top five. I don't know why. I did not use
Really?
AI for the book. I
Hmm.
did not, I wrote it myself. One of the benefits is I wrote it myself. One of the downsides is I wrote it myself. I did end up doing it in like 45 days. I blocked off every
Wow.
day, 8 hours a day. I just wrote, and I had a great editor to kind of help me through it. And the book I'm excited for the book. It's called Movers Marketing. It's a no BS guide for moving companies to win on Google and maximize ROI. And if you're a home service business, like this, ignore the moving talk in there. This book will be for you as well. You're going to want to get it because it's not about how do you set up a PPC campaign, how to run an SEO campaign. I am a full believer that we're business owners. Our job is not to figure out how to be a marketing expert. That's not our leverage. We have bigger leverages, bigger levers to pull in our business. But we need to know how to hold agencies or our marketing team accountable. What does it look like? How am I going to get screwed? How are they screwing me? What are the questions to ask? What are the insights and the things you know? What are the things that as an owner you need to know so you can take advantage of or know so you can make sure it's not happening to you? And so that's what the whole book is about. It dissects the Google real estate. It dissects every single spot, how to leverage it and the things you need to know about it. And then I got a bonus chapter at the end of the book of all the questions you need to ask to interview an agency. And it's like, well, I know this world. Let me tell you what you need to ask to know the deep details to help you make a better business decision. So that's what the book's about.
Give us a tease. What's one question they can ask when they're vetting an agency?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you two actually.
Nice.
Let's see here. So PPC, whether you're a moving company or not, you need to ask them, do you upload offline conversions to Google? And you need to ask them that. And again, the answer, there's a way to get the answer in the book, but the answer to that is you need to know if they are or they're not. This marketplace right now is a dog eat dog world. It is not easy anymore. It's competitive. You got private equity companies, major companies that are literally buying customers at a loss because they're like, we're going to make money in 6 years. Well, we're small business owners. We can't do that. And so the way to maximize your return on Google Ads is you need to upload offline conversions. Most people don't know that, so ask them. And you need to know that they're doing that. That's one. And then down to like backlinks. Everybody talks about SEO and talks about backlinks, but nobody's asking the question, what are the quality standards that you have for
Mm.
your backlinks, and how do you acquire the backlinks? If you don't have an in-house team, you need to find that out because they're going to the marketplace and buying it from other people. Who are you buying it from? What is the quality standard? What kind of traffic are you looking at? If they can't answer that, for me, I'm like, we've already got problems because they don't even have quality standards for themselves and they're now selling you. At Rotate Digital, we have quality standards. We tell you where we're buying them, why we do it. We actually built it in-house, and we actually fulfill backlinks for many other agencies.
All right, now I want to get into the brain behind the book here, Travis. Let's say you're running the marketing for a moving company.
Okay.
You've got 16K total spend, and you've got 3 months to prove your worth and to really move the needle for them, help them book more, more jobs. What are you going to do and why?
All right. So these are hard questions for me because I'm always going to be the sarcastic, cynical person to go, well, what's going on? What are their problems? What is working? What's not working? It's like, so I'll give this, with a grain of salt, high level. So I've
Right.
got $16,000. I'm going to assume this company is like they need it, and they need to get a return. And they need it fast because I really do love the value of SEO. SEO is such, when done right, it's a snowball effect, some might actually say. But when it's done right, like it crushes it. You have this ever-flowing leads that come in. But if this moving company is cash flow strict, like they don't have a lot of cash flow, and they're not in the best times right now, SEO could be a very detrimental thing because it takes some time. So if I've got 16K, I'm not doing SEO. I am probably opening up one LSA and going to see how much I can spend on LSA. And then I'm probably after
Explain
LSA.
to our explain to our
Yeah,
audience what LSA is.
great question. So LSA is Google Local Services Ads, and what it is it's ad placement that's at the premier spot at Google, the very, very top. Google vets you and says, yes, I've done a background check. You have minimum insurance. So all rogue movers are not able to get on this platform. So you already have like a strategic advantage there. And what it does is a pay per call. So what you're going to be able to do is put money in there. You say, here are the zip codes I want to go after. And then you're going to be able to say, here are the types of services I'm willing to take calls. And only if you get a legitimate lead as a call, then you get charged. Clicks, calls about a job placement, you don't get any charge. So I like that. It creates simplicity and you can go fast. So I would probably open up LSA and try that. The second thing I would do is I would do most likely if things are like tight. It's hard because I'm either Google Ads because it's going to get a quicker return on investment in less than 3 months. But I'm also like, what if I start doing some realtor referral programs? I really do see the value of that real referral market. And I'm not saying that because I'm on a podcast with Snowball. Like the value of going to realtors and creating human to human interaction, right? We had COVID where we had no human
Mm-hmm.
interaction and people are swinging on the other side. So I might end up going to a more investing in like realtor groups, buying lunches, getting my presence of my relationship. And then the final thing I'd spend money on, hear me out, that's kind of not marketing, is an AI tool that listens to my phone calls and analyzes my phone calls because I need to know if
Oh.
I'm going to convert. Now it's obviously a little bit of a sales pitch because we have that launching, but there's plenty out there. It's like can I record my sales calls, get AI to analyze them, know like what my script is that I need them to go through, find out which person's doing well on that, find out if I'm asking, how did I hear about you? Are we asking that? Because there's no point of having marketing if you're not keeping your sales team accountable and you have no idea what's going on with them. So that's probably my three.
I wasn't expecting that last one, but I really like it because no matter what good you do, if you take this lead and then dump them into an experience that's going to be poor, or where they're not going to be nurtured, or they're not going to be treated well, then you're setting yourself up for a lot of frustration.
Yeah. And we actually, real quick to go on that, we had a client that was actually getting good results and we actually looked into their closing process and he found out through us, like, actually sales weren't going very well. And so it wasn't marketing, although the original conversation was, hey, I don't think you guys are doing a good job. It was a sales problem. This guy was a great business owner and owned that, but it's a holistic process. That's why it's really hard for everyone to just look at marketing or sales individually because it's part of this cog.
I know you approach that scenario that I gave you with instant growth, instant impact in mind. But let's say I'm the business owner of this moving company. I hear what you just say and I'm like, that sounds really good. I want to throw some other budget at you so that you can start your SEO efforts. You can start laying some of that foundation. What would you tell me is needed?
I'm kind of glad you asked this because it really does follow again. Shameless plug. It does follow what this book is coming out and is about. In the book, I talk about this in a strategic order, and I tell people your number one thing to do to get you really good SEO is to have a website that's a sales machine, not an online business card. And everyone wants to talk about the right SEO thing to do on your website,
Hmm.
but we're missing the conversation of your website is a sales machine. It needs to sell. And if you do that well, guess what you've done? You've created a really good experience with the user online. Well, that's going to help in your SEO. That's going to help create a good brand in the eyes of Google. SEO, this is my saying,
Hmm.
SEO, all SEO is doing is to take and prove to Google that your business is valuable. You already know it's valuable. People use you, you have great reviews. You're just trying to prove to Google that it's so valuable, so it needs to show up on these top search results. So I would start with get your website to be a sales machine. What does it need to do? Well, in the book, I talk about it needs to have reviews, it needs to have professional photography. A lot of us we get this beautiful website we invest money in, but then we don't go spend $500 in professional photography and we throw a stock photo up there. And in the book, I show, imagine if all my sons, one of the biggest moving companies in the nation, just had a stock photo instead of that, cute smiling little kid. Like it would change the trajectory of their sales. So we need to start there. And then the next thing you would need to do is then build the right pages, the right structure. No point of getting backlinks and writing blogs if you don't have a structure that Google can even understand. So that's where you're going into structures of service area pages, service area pages, have an FAQs page, have a terms and condition, an accessibility page. Like this is all the things that are needed in 2025, 2026 to grow. And you're going to start in website foundational sales, then structure, then going into Google Maps, then finally you can have the conversation about backlinks and all this other stuff that helps juice you up.
So what I'm hearing is you've got to open the aperture a little bit and stop looking at your website as just a, a, a box you have to check. But this is a sales machine. What's then required to show Google that we are as reputable as our team and our customers already know that we are?
When you think about that, you create a good brand experience, which I don't know how it happens, but Google sees that. And it's like down to like texting. How many of us have, hey, by the way, you can text this number on our website. I don't know about you, but I text more than I call at this point in my life. When I
Absolutely.
just moved last in March of 2025, I texted, and the company that won my business was the company that was willing to engage in texting conversations. Everyone else was calling and leaving voicemails at 2 in the afternoon when I had meetings. But guess what I could do in those meetings? I could text, I can move things forward. So it's like down to just call to actions, show people that you can text, get a good FAQs page, get a good why do you should you work for us? And think creatively, think about the user experience. I tell people like, think about all the people that love their pets. Nobody talks about, hey, we are a pet friendly experience where you can enjoy having your pet around while we move. You may go, well, of course, obviously, but the user doesn't know that. So bring it up. And now that you've brought it up, you now separate yourself from every other moving company that's not bringing it up.
Something you said earlier I really like, which is, I mean, we hear a lot right now about AI slop, right? And AI images and all that stuff. Well, the thing is, in marketing,
I love that.
we've had stock photography slop for how many years? How many websites have we gone to where you're like, oh, here's a professional woman looking at her phone. Here's a happy family, staring at us like an awkward Hallmark card. We've got these stock photography going on people's website versus pay someone $500, get some real shots of your real people. I think that we have been chasing people away, even subconsciously, with just all the stock photography slop we've been throwing at people for decades now. Stock.
We'll go even deeper. Oh, we'll go even deeper. I'll stop after this, but we'll go deeper. So, according to research, websites that have authentic professional photos convert 45% better than those with generic stock photos. So, by just having stock photos and saying, I'm not going to spend $500, you're losing almost half your leads. Now, sure, some are going to be variances off that number, but it's like that's real because I'm going to go to a moving company owner or a moving company website and you're going to have a stock photo. It's like, I don't even know if you're real. Because
That's
we
right.
are trained to know that. So you're going to lose my business. Well, okay, let's go a little deeper. let me ask you a question. Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you
Fire away.
think Google, Todd, do you think Google knows that this is a stock photo? Yes or no?
Uh, Absolutely. Probably just from
Oh,
the file type or just
yeah.
from the file name alone, let
Yeah.
alone all the images that they, yeah, of course they do.
Yeah, of course they do. In fact, Google knows how to read the emotions on photos, whole nother subject. But Google knows this is stock photo. Well, if your job is to prove to Google that you are a valuable company, a unique
Ah,
brand, and a brand that is valuable, do you think Google knows that you just threw up a stock photo? Yep. Go look at every top three, top five websites in any major metropolitan area. Just type in moving company Dallas, moving company Phoenix. Go look at the first five businesses that come up. Not one of them will have a stock photo. You can say, Travis, that's a coincidence. I would argue it's part of all the things that need to go into place to win top spots on Google.
I even think at a human level. Now, I didn't expect us to be talking about stock photography for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
but this is what marketers do, right? So I like we know about the uncanny valley in movies
Mhm.
and things like that, right? Like you watch the Polar Express, back from however many umpteen,
Great
gazillion years
movie.
ago. Yeah, it is. It's heartwarming. But every time the kids smile and you look at their teeth, you get that uncanny valley where instantly your brain is saying, they're trying to look real, but it doesn't quite look real, right? And in story,
Mhm.
they'll call that the uncanny valley. I think with stock photography, you're triggering people's sense of the uncanny valley where they're just uneasy because they know this isn't who you are. So it's screaming fake, whether or not they understand it or not. I think that's how we're chasing people away.
If you're I'll got another shameless plug. If you are a home service business and you're going, I need to do this, but I don't even know what photos do I get? How do I do this? Who do I even contact to find it? If you just go to rotatedigital.com/tools, we literally have a photography checklist. It tells you everything you need to take for your photos for your website, and then it tells you how you to go and source the photographers. And we find it's like $500, give or take. And I had a photographer come up when I spoke about this. He's like, that's so not right. Average cost is 2,500. I was like, dude, I've done this 150 times. I've gotten for on average $500. So
I want to ask a little bit about your pet peeves in marketing, or maybe it's things that you see in the home services industry where you're like, people just got to knock that off.
I'm trying to think where I want to go with this. I think that part of this answer is just a thing that all business owners struggle with, me included. And it is the number one thing is just stop taking emotional decisions and work so freaking hard to have more objective data-driven decisions. Let me give you an example. I was meeting with a moving company owner in our office actually, and I said, "Hey, does this Google Business Profile get you leads?" And they're like, no, it never got us any traction or any leads. I was like, really? Like it ranks well, like when I like searched this up. And I was like, so you get like no calls and all those, there's no leads coming in. They're like, well, we don't actually know that number, but the way we do it is based off moves in that area. And we never saw an increase in moves in that area. Well, by saying that, you're basically going, we never saw an increase in moves, but also during this time, the market has gone down. Two, you actually don't have the data. And so as a marketing agency, I'm coming in, I can't make a good decision. The only decision I can make is in order for us to move forward, I've got to actually get proof on that data. So how as a business owner, do you stop making emotional decisions and get the data you need to make really good decisions, right? I feel like marketing's not working. Well, okay, great. What set of KPIs are you tracking to say marketing's not working? And I have my whole list of what KPIs I would use, but do you have a dashboard? Have you aligned that with your marketing agency? I'd say that's probably the biggest one that I'm like, man, you guys got to knock it off. And then number two, I would probably go into the things that just drive me up the wazoo is probably when people are and this sounds so bad because I know I'm an agency owner, but when you get these bigger companies with these big goals, these big milestones, but they have a budget of a fourth grader, and it's like, I want to help you, but you're missing a mindset and you're missing just real raw data, and like you're never gonna win because you're never gonna have the budget to afford the things that you really want. And I have $500,000 companies spending twice or three times what you're willing to spend, and you're 10 times bigger, and you have so much more opportunity, like the opportunity cost that we are missing here. So probably my two things.
Oh, I love this. So I want to circle back to KPIs there just a little bit, because basically it sounds like you're asking business owners to really learn the language of numbers. What are some of those KPIs that you gravitate to that you think help tell the story?
Yeah. So if you don't have really anything to start with, here's what I would do. In your first 5 months, you're going to track core KPI. Let's just say we're talking about SEO. Okay. This is
Right.
raw, real. If we're talking about SEO, in the first 5 months, and then these overlap in a couple months, but first 5 months of core KPIs, I want to see, does my Google business profile keyword relevancy and volume grow? So in your Google business profile performance, you can open up your performance and see what keywords drove views or visibilities or clicks to your business, to your Google business profile. Well, the relevancy of those keywords, I want to see improve and I want to see the volume improve. So if I'm a moving company owner, I want to see movers. That keyword be relevant, and I want to see the volume increasing in the first 5 months. That's a leading indicator KPI, right? If I'm an HVAC technician, AC repair would be one, and you can see that for you. I would be tracking that on a monthly basis. I would want to see SERP results, the average traffic, organic traffic coming to my website increasing. These are all leading indicators. My map results, my Google map results in the first 3 to 5 months, I want to see that the visibility is increasing. Those are your leading KPIs, right? Then you've got critical KPIs. Now you're getting into the crux, the 4 to month 9. What are the critical KPIs you need to be tracking? Well, if I'm an owner or if I'm building this for an HVAC company or a moving company, those critical KPIs, I've got three. I want to see that the leads in the CRM from Google are increasing. I want to see that calls from Google are increasing. And I want to see that organic traffic is again continuing to increase. Now, here's the hard part. Here's the bad news. The bad news is that the owner, if you go, all right, let's go do this, you're going to have a slew of things you got to set up to actually track that. Like, how do I know calls coming in are from Google? Well, I've got to make sure my sales team is asking, and I've got to have a way to track all that. Two, I need to have some kind of sales call recording platform, like what converts to get those UTMs to get that information. So by putting these in place, you actually create a better business. And then I call it the most important number. I stole this from my mentor, Lee Benson. The most important number is sales from Google increasing year over year. That's the goal. That's what both the marketing agency and you are aligned with, but these are the leading indicators. So that's where I would go with it.
I want to try to distill that down into kind of three buckets. Because SEO and a lot of these initiatives that you help spearhead, as you said, these take time. So I love that you've armed them with some health indicators to say, here's some indicators that things are trending in the right direction while you're still waiting for those long-term results. So you've kind of got those health metrics. Then you've got those critical metrics that you're tracking to say, okay, now we're starting to see results. And all that ends with the most important KPI, which is sales driven from Google. So,
Hmm.
am I encapsulating that correctly? Any color you would add
Yeah.
to that?
I mean, I can share my screen real quick so people can screenshot.
Do
I
it.
have this dashboard already
Let's
pulled
do
up
it.
here. So you've got core KPIs right here. That's your early initial leading indicators. Those flow into, if those are increasing, they then flow into the critical KPIs. And those then should be increasing because the other ones are increasing. And if those are increasing, your most important number of sales from Google are increasing. Now, this is the beauty. If your sales are, if you like, say, your map results, your traffic, all that is increasing, but your leads and calls from Google are not, something's missing. Maybe your maps, maybe your location is actually not in a place where you have like a really good audience. We find this in the moving industry all the time because we help them get their map location scans really good in a like a radius, and they're like, I'm not seeing an increased calls. And then you dive down to the population, it's like, well, you're in a warehouse district. Either there's no population or the people that are around there can't afford moving, so we actually have to move into a different sales office to get better results. And so this is the ebbs and flows that get created in this conversation with your marketing agency or your marketing team, and this is what I would be tracking. And then again, you can just go down the rabbit hole. And then it's like you start defining what is a conversion with your agency. How do I know what ROI looks like? How are you tracking it as agency owner? The agency owner needs to know how they're going to track it.
This builds so nicely on what you teased in that last chapter of your book, that bonus chapter of questions to ask an agency that you're vetting, right? Like going in there armed with, here's some KPIs that they should be able to track for me so that I can see things are moving in the right direction. So the needle is starting to move. And so we're getting end results. So if you educate yourself, become a little bit more literate in some of those KPIs, you're really going to be able to vet out an agency
Hmm.
that's gonna have impact for you. Oh, this is great. I could talk
Yeah,
to you for ages, Travis. This is fantastic.
in the book, page 144, I have 5 questions when it comes to ROI that you need to ask your agency. Question one: how do you specifically tie ROI to SEO and other marketing investments? Your agency needs to be able to answer that. How do I segment out SEO results from your other investments? They need to have a good answer to that. Number two, how do you measure the baseline of my prior Google revenue to the results? Because if I go and get a new agency or a new moving company owner, a new HVAC owner as a client today, I know that I didn't cultivate the maybe already $30,000 a month coming in from Google. So how do I measure that baseline? How do we agree on this is the baseline? Number three, will you be able to show me the exact lead attribution for each marketing channel? This is something that I'm telling you, marketing agencies don't know how to do right now. If they don't know how to do it, you're behind the ball. We have to do it for our clients right now. We have to tell them this is the exact lead. Here's exactly where it came from. And here's the attribution that we're going to apply it to. Number four, are ROI and results purely based off the money I spend with your company? And it's kind of a vetting question. Are they going to just say the more you spend, the more money you get? Or are they going to have some nuance to it to go, actually, you've got some foundation to build, so you can spend a lot, but it might be a little slower. You might not need to do that to yet. And then number five is how do you define conversions? How is the agency going to define conversions? And do you as a business owner agree that that's a conversion? So those are 5 questions.
Travis, I want to take that big brain of yours and I want to point it down. I want to point it into the future. Help marketers grapple with what can they expect to see in 2026 and how can they prepare for that?
Yeah, expectation and how to prepare. And actually, the answer from marketers and business owners are almost the same. And I'll say this is at least where I'm going, where I'm bullish on. Number one, human to human interaction and engagement is going to be key in 2026 because you're going to have a softening of a market. People are going to get very weary of reach outs via text message. They're going to get very weary of a phone call that sounds a little off because they're going to be like, that sounds like AI. And we are not, as a population, yet trained to experience a conversation with AI. So the human to human touch, the human to human interaction is going to be very, very key, right? That even with what you guys do is so great because you're creating a human to human relationship. You're building equity in a relationship. I think
That's
that's
right.
key. And it is what we are doing at Rotate Digital with our sales, our everything. So you need to expect that to come, and therefore you need to prepare for how do I increase more and more human to human interaction in my marketing, whatever it is. How do I build more equity in these relationships? And then number two, we got to go to the AI route. We've got to go down the AI route.
Right?
AI is going to create a divide. It's going to create, somebody told me it's like a rocket ship, and your rocket ship can be going in a really good direction really fast, but it could also take you in a really bad direction really fast. And if you think as a business owner, when it comes to like AI for lead generation, you are going to have this brand new platform that comes up. People are trusting the answers on AI so much more. Like our clients, we're seeing them get quite a few leads from AI. Not crazy, not like what we get from Google, but the conversions of those leads are 60, 70% because they trust it so much more. You know where I'm going with this. And so if you are not investing in foundational SEO work, foundational website quality, you like the basic stuff that's going to get you on AI. I think you're going to see a bigger divide than you've ever before. And I've already had 2 calls, one with an HVAC tech and a moving company owner to go, I'm feeling it. The economy's shifting. I'm in debt. I can't pay. I wish I invested in marketing 3 years ago. And that's going to be the same thing when it comes to, I wish I invested in SEO and AI because man, everyone's going to my competitor because AI is telling them that's the person to go to. Anyway, that's my take.
I couldn't agree with every word you just said more. honestly. Number one, lean into the human experience. Like, use the tools and the technology to make some of the operations, the stuff you hate to do, to, to, to make that less expensive. Lean into the human experience. There is already this growing just hunger. People are just want it like they want oxygen, the human experience, and
Hmm.
that's gonna do nothing but increase as AI. You nailed it. Like, our BS detectors just being on high alert. Am I talking to a human or am I talking to a robot? And then what you said about taking like your SEO. I mean, how much overlap is there between the SEO tactics and what you need to show up in AI? Like, what would
A
you say
ton.
is that overlap? Right?
It's
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 a
huge.
ton. It's the foundation of SEO is AI is just pulling from Google. It's pulling from outside entities, YouTube, Google. Well, that's SEO and that's it's visibility. And so it's if you can't do AI without doing SEO.
I hear two things from marketers online. I hear a lot of fear about their job security and AI is going to replace me and all of this. But then I also hear, oh, there's all this opportunity for me to pursue. If you were talking to a young marketer who's just getting into the marketing world, maybe they're working for a home service company, what would you tell them to prepare them and their career for the world of marketing and AI?
Oh, I've got an answer to that. So my answer to that is, and it's for kind of any marketer, you could almost apply it to any position, but let's just say any marketer.
Mm-hmm.
Because of AI, you can't get because your job at any role, at any employee, but specifically a marketer, is to create value and to create value for the company or the other companies that you're working for, right? That's
That's right.
your job. Well, with AI, that value is now changing from I created this Canva document or I created this social media post because I can go get that with AI now to really pushing to actual tangible results. And so if you're a marketer and you're sitting here and you're going, how do I not get as nervous? Then your question is always going to be, how do I continue to create more value? And that looks like in the marketer's position, how do I create demand generation? How do I make that happen for a company? That's your job, and you've got to, it is not easy. Like I, even as an agency, you could kind of get away 5 years ago with checking the box. We can't do that now. We're having to go and listen to sales calls and apply all this extra work because the demand for this value is so strong. And outside of that, we're invaluable or we're not valuable if we can't do that. And so you've got to lean into how do I create demand? How do I create one more story. I even just did this with my marketing team. I said, because we have this thing called like, what's your most important number? What are the things that are going to drive that number up? And we came up with some cool stuff. And I said, if there's a gun to your head, maybe not the best analogy, like if there's a gun to your head and we had to get 30 new MQLs this month, is what we just came up with the answer to this? And their answer was kind of like, not really. Like, this is long-term good stuff. I said, then what do we need to do to get 30 new MQLs this month? And that may be, as a marketer, just sitting down with a contact list and texting, hey, John, I met you at the conference. We have webinars or we have a podcast. Can I personally invite you to a notification list and sign you up to get notified about that? I'd love that. Perfect. MQL or a version of an MQL created just like that. And it wasn't through some automation. It wasn't through AI. It was because you sat down as a marketer and created demand and brought them into the ecosystem. So that's where you're going to have to start thinking very creatively.
That gives me a lot of hope for those young marketers out there, and for all of us marketers that are having to recreate ourselves in real time. Right? We're
Mm,
kind of we're assembling the plane in mid-flight as we adapt to the world. So,
good analogy.
Travis, Travis, this has been fantastic. I want to hear something about you that the normal Joe Schmo doesn't know.
Yeah. Normal Joe Schmo. I'll give you two. Number
Nice,
one, we foster right now. We're on our last foster. We got a foster baby. I think that's important
nice.
to know. Semi-forced, but do love it. And number two is I would, if I had a different life and and I could do something different, I'd love to be a travel agent. I love booking travel. I love finding good deals. I love using credit card points to get the best deal. So like my second life would be a travel agent. When we go on vacation, I like if I can plan people's vacations, it's like my dream. I'm like, let me know the details, budget, and I'm planning your vacation. So it's a little side hobby.
Wait, wait, are you kidding me? So I plan, our trade shows and stuff like that, and I've got to book travel. And let me tell you,
Hmm.
it is
The
like
nightmare.
it is the worst. So you
Yeah.
actually enjoy what mapping out the vacation, or actually just finding the best deal? Where are you getting your buzz from this? Because it doesn't compute in my brain.
Yeah, so it's like a little bit of a dopamine hit when I can find a really good deal because I've just worked the system a little bit. So that's part of the dopamine hit. Also, I like the control. I have a control problem. And so I like the control of knowing exactly what's going to be done, like down to like what gate are we arriving at? Let me know the Starbucks there so I can pre-order the Starbucks. So when we walk out of the gate, I have my food and coffee ready to go. Like I just love that. I don't know why. It's fun. It's like the small part. Like business is hard, it's always out of control. There's always something to fix. It's like the one thing I can control the best is like travel and the travel plans and the Airbnbs and the hotels and the points. And, do I want to do a layover here or do I want to find a layover over here? I have a friend over here. Let me do a layover here, stay 3 hours, have him come in. I'll buy him a refundable ticket. He'll come into the airport. We'll have lunch and then I'll cancel the ticket and he'll leave. Like that's my, like, I've done this.
Now, what about something that you're really passionate about, Travis? What just gets that fire going?
I mean, I love two things that get my hobbyist and fire going. It's business and airplanes. Flying and business. I mean, those are like my two things. Like I really do. I fell in love with business. I love business. I love what it does. I love the value it creates, the effects it has on families. In our business, we're tracking like how many kids are fed and enjoy life because of our business. Like I enjoy that. And then aviation. Like anytime I can talk about flying an airplane and the beauty of flying and taking off somewhere. So those are my two like passions.
Tell me a little bit more about the family members that you're tracking. That actually, you're getting at this at a deeper level than I've ever heard. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we like to kind of find out like, hey, what are your anniversaries? How many kids do you have? I think we have 43 children at Rotate Digital, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm probably a little bit wrong with that. But we'll track that because it reminds me and our team and our leadership team the impact of running a valuable business. I had the horrible experience of the market shift and not running a good business on the books, not having good understanding of where my money's going and how it's going. And I ended up laying off four people. And that
Hmm.
moment, I was like, I want to lay somebody off or fire them because they're not doing a good job, not because I didn't run a business well. And that it was
Right.
something that I really struggled with. And so now it's a way to remind me like, this is what's at stake. This is what's out there. This is what's happening. I'm not just trying to increase our profit just to increase profit. Trust me, I've got an airplane. I enjoy that. But I'm also doing it for stability and for a healthy business. And that is important, not just for the business, but for the people that work here and their families.
That is such a cool way to just infuse your personal values into what you're building there, and to take on that responsibility that we're building something here that is going to create opportunity for all these kids.
Hmm.
Um, Kudos. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
So, how do people get a hold of you if they want to keep this conversation going? Let's say, first of all, they want to reach out to Rotate Digital. What's the best way that they can engage with Rotate Digital?
Yeah, so first off, I just want to say thank you, Todd. You did a great job, and there's been podcasts where they miss extracting value because they don't ask the right questions, or it's about them. You've done a great job asking really good questions and allowing
I
me to just
appreciate
talk
that.
and share and bring that out. So thank you. How to get in touch with me? If you're like, I just want to see you more, Travis, your beautiful face, or you're like, I want to get the value that you're sharing. If you go to Instagram at Travis Weathers, great place to contact me, DM me, say hi. You can follow my company's profile at Rotate. underscore digital, rotate digital. And then if not, you can go to my website, www.rotatedigital.com. Take a look. We have really cool tools there. Sign up, talk to our salesperson. It's going to be no pressure conversation. We're going to open up opportunities of what you're doing well and where the opportunities are. And, just engage. We do webinars every month. Like our job is to create value for you. And that's what we're trying to do at Rotate Digital.
Travis, it's been awesome talking to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I was glad to be here today.